Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once more. The stage is set. The finalists have been decided. And today, a date with destiny comes for both teams. Kingston Football Academy and Portmore United. They've both had to overcome some amount of adversity to get here. But now they are here. Portmore United, not least, very much unfavored by most fans, I'd say, to even get to the semi-finals. But somehow they've done what seemingly was impossible. And now they're here with a chance at winning it all on the back of some phenomenal defending, some fortuitous moments in games, some brilliant coaching, and some decisive moments in front of goal. They'll take on the team that has been the most prolific in the competition. That's Kingston Football Academy. Of course, a number of their players are among the top scorers in the competition. They have been a bit susceptible at the back, which is of course Portmore United's strength. But it remains to be seen which of the two will emerge victorious. Of course, there is Portmore United's coaching staff, led of course by the head coach Ricardo Smith, who was pretty firm on his team, pretty strict on his team. Had some choice words for a number of players early on in the campaign about their lack of perceived effort and giving below what he knows that they're capable of. But they seem to have turned it around mid-season with a renewed sense of belief and hope. And now, against all odds, they now have a chance to win the KFC Under-18 Elite Cup. Of course, at this level, as I've mentioned so many times in previous broadcasts right throughout this season, it's not just about winning. As, of course, Technical Director Eric Rademacher of KFA has so often said, it is about development, and to see how both these teams have developed over the course of this season, a number of the individual players, as well as just how they play as a team, it has been a joy to behold, really. It's been a joy to witness Tashawn Rayner, very much an unfancied young talent, not necessarily one of the most well-renowned, but he's been one of the most impressive in his position. 4 goals to his name throughout the competition. Some rather impressive individual performances. So fast, so skillful, really good at set pieces, and has an eye for a goal. Can he make the difference in the final third, or can the man at the back, Jaquan Brown, who has picked up so many Man of the Match awards and at this point is really a viable candidate for player of the competition, can he be the one to make the difference? But nevertheless, regardless of the individual talents, Portmore United as a team, they have been sensational. Prince Louis, of course, valiant performance at left back last week, but now they have a chance. Portmore United, in their first appearance in the competition, to win it all. And that must mean so much for them. KFA, of course, fell at the semi-final hurdle last year. They were soundly beaten by Harborview, who were dispatched of by Mount Pleasant. They will want their chance at the trophy this year. But now the game's kicked off, and Romy Henry, who has been one of the players of the competition as well, perhaps midfielder of the season, he has another opportunity to make an impact. Tareen Hall's gone down rather early here. He was one of those players Ricardo Smith, Portmore United coach, spoke about early in the season in terms of not necessarily playing at the level that he knows he's capable of, but over the last couple of weeks he has come on. So still not necessarily making an impact in front of goal per se, but in terms of his overall play, he has risen a bit in terms of the level. Tashawn Rayner, the man beside him, he has been far and away their most consistent, most potent attacking threat, not just number of goals, but consistency and level of performance, game in, game out. To Jay Gordon, of course, scored a couple of weeks ago in that decisive game against Waterhouse to ensure Portmore United got through to the semis. And Sean Barnaby scored 3 goals on the season, and of course famously scored that last minute winner against KFC in the regular season 2-1 a couple of weeks ago as well. They do have some options that can hurt you, but as I mentioned before, their strength really has been at the back. Sheldon York has been their goalkeeper for most of the campaign. He's been their standout goalkeeper, but Sanjay Tucker has come in for him over the last couple of games of the season, especially in this semi-final, and he stood tall, performed really admirably. We'll be looking for a big performance from him today. Machine Paid heads that on to Damar Wallace, who made his first appearance of the campaign midway through the season, really, in that game against Waterhouse when a number of additions came in for KFA from Europe, and he scored a hat-trick on that day in a 4-1 win over Waterhouse. And since then he's kicked on, scored last week I believe against Harbourview in that 4-4 draw. And Portmore United on the attack here. Oh, looking for a penalty, and they've got it. Oh, just 2 minutes into the game, and Portmore United, we spoke about them being underdogs, not just in this game, but right throughout the competition, and they could very well, so early into this game, into the final, take a lead. And it's that man, Jaquan Brown, stepping up to take it. And what a moment this would be for him to get his first of the campaign, the young centre-back. He's led by example all season long. Fantastic in the tackle. Fantastic in aerial duels and 1v1s. Played through pain on so many occasions and come out with so many Man of the Match awards, deservingly so. Can he do what no one else would have expected Portmore United to do? And that's be up front in the final. He steps up. Oh, and he scores! Portmore United take the lead in the KFC Under-18 Elite Cup final. And a saucy celebration to boot. Portmore United, who would have thunk it at the start of the year? I have to say, Javier Coke, who has been exceptional at saving penalties, not just this year in the penalty shootout against Harbourview last week, but as well last year in the 3rd place game against Cavalier. Didn't give his best effort on that occasion, but you can see there on the touchline what it means to that Portmore United bench. And just 2 minutes in, well, 3 minutes in to this game, Portmore United have taken the lead. And a friend of ours, of course, who has close ties to Portmore, will no doubt be grinning from ear to ear. But it's the boys from St. Catherine who have found themselves in front in the KFC Under-18 Elite Cup final. Unbelievable. They just seem to always find a way. And of course, goes without saying, they are in the semi-finals of the Jamaican Premier League as well, where they will take on Mount Pleasant on Sunday night. So, double trouble. It does seem as though their youth and their senior players have been stepping up to the plate and representing the parish of St. Catherine rather well. Phenomenal. Some important figures here today to join us. And we'd like to thank all those who have joined us online as well right throughout the course of this season. The support has been immense. Thank you for making this competition possible, but KFA still have a chance to get back into this game now with a free kick here. Steps up, Tried to go low beneath the wall. Damar Wallace unable to get a goal, and that's a cross coming in. Trying to find Kevon Adlam at the back post, who was awarded a place in the team of the season in the regular season. Most definitely deserved as well. Great right back. Fantastic player. Comfortable in position, but equally adept in the tackle. KFA's defense as a whole hasn't been great, but it's been good enough to get to the final. They did surrender 4 goals to Harborview coming into this game. That was the weakness. That was the Achilles heel, if you will, of this team that has, as I mentioned before, scored so many goals. But regardless of the amount of turnover in this team, they've come forward, and now they can come forward here with Ryland Campbell. Lovely turn, has a shot. Great defending, I believe, by Romain Brown there on that occasion. Portmore United escape there. Shaquan Elliott, who gets a start today, hasn't necessarily been a regular member of the squad for most of the season, but he's come on strong in the last couple of games. He's playing more regularly now. A wild cross, well, seemed a bit wild, but it's actually found its way to Ryland Campbell, and it's a free kick eventually, and it's to Sean Arena, who's struggling a bit. Would hate for anything to be wrong with him. I mentioned before, their most potent attacking threat right throughout the course of this season. He has been phenomenal. They'll be hoping that he can conjure up once more some magic in the final third. Of course, Kelvin Brown, who scored on the last day of the season in a 1-0 win against Mount Pleasant, he's on the ball right now. Kenrick Brown scored an amazing effort against Harborview for the equalizer. He'll be hoping to get on the score sheet once more as well. No Rubinho Morgan, no Sean Lewis, no Dominic Clark. The 3 top scorers this season, apart from Damar Wallace, of course. But now here's Romy Henry, who has a number of goals himself. Lovely ball over the top to Ryland Campbell. Just couldn't take it down, and believe he handled the ball. Or actually, the linesman's flag went up on that far right-hand side. Will be a free kick the other way. Offside, rather, the other way to Portmore. And there, the goal scorer, captain. Fantastic. The leader by example, Jacon Brown, who put them in front from the penalty spot. He's on the ball. Plays the pass short to Romain Brown now. Pass intercepted. Campbell played it off quickly, but was under some pressure. Lost possession. Now is Wallace. Searching for space. Tries to get it out wide now to Kenrick Brown. Rashid Payne on the ball. Gets it out wide. And Portmore break up the attack there. Ooh, bit of a hefty challenge, but no foul. Referee waves play on, and will be a throw-in. That's Orlando Angel on the ground, who of course did get red carded on the last day of the league phase of the season, but he returns for the final despite missing the semis, of course, with that red. Most definitely would have been a miss, huge miss, but nevertheless they soldiered on without him in his place. Navarre Anderson deputized rather well. Oh, lovely turn by Wallace, and I don't believe he kept that in play, but the referee thinks he does. Now it's Kenneth Brown. Does well to get past to Rain Hall. Plays that out wide, searching for Elliott, I believe, but he's gone all the way to Ryland Campbell. Now we can try to take on Rayner, but instead passes back to Elliott. Trying to find Kenneth Brown, but Wynn takes the ball away. Angel. Lovely pass. Wynn is taking some of the pace out of it, but now it's to Sean Rayner, who you'll see play stopped here for, I believe, a free kick to KFA. For an off-the-ball incident. But now here's Davian Clark, who I believe scored last week and was phenomenal in that game. Braden Campbell trying to find Remy Henry, unable to, and Jaquan Brown once more doing his defensive duty, allowing Sanjay Tucker to pick up the ball, shielding it away from Damar Wallace. Phenomenal talent at the back. Oh, lovely, lovely. Can they score here? Oh! Well-worked passage of play, and Javier Coke actually worse for wear on the end of it. Kelvin Brown, who scored last week against Mount Pleasant, playing it there into the path of his teammate, Tajay Gordon, but seems both Gordon and goalkeeper Javier Coke are down. As I mentioned before, Javier Coke did make the winning save last week against Harborview in that penalty shootout after they played out a 4-4 draw. And he was also the man responsible for their third place finish last year when they beat Cavalier on penalties. Seems to have a knack for those high pressure situations, but he's already surrendered conceded a goal here today, and it actually was from the spot. And there you can see on the replay, ball was in the net in a flash before he even knew it. And even though he recognized midway through his dive that I was going the other way, couldn't do anything about it. And 13 minutes into the game, Portmore United 1-0 up on KFA. Their Achilles heel, their defense has let them down again once more. Not necessarily being carved open on this occasion, just a poor mistake at the back, a really unnecessary foul given away, and they've paid the price. Of course, still plenty of time to get back into this game and get the win, of course, for the Kingston-based team, but they've made the task all that much difficult, and they're playing themselves into trouble here. Portmore United, as they've done right the way through the season, winning the ball back high up the pitch. Quinn Carey plays it into the path of Romain Brown, looking for a teammate, decides to turn back wisely, plays it to Quinn Carey, turns, Orlando Angel, lovely, but and the end loses possession. There's Jaquan Brown, great ball out wide to find Prince Louis, but headed away by Shakon Elliott, out of play. Taken off of Brown Hall. Lovely swivel. Loses possession, however. Henry on the ball, who's been captaining the team for much of the second half of the season. Of course, for the majority of the first half of it, Kevario White was captain and actually scored 3 goals pretty early on in the campaign. He was a rather consistent member of the squad, but now they're without him. And a cross coming in for KFA. Not a good clearance from Prince Louis. Henry on the edge of the box. A shot taken eventually. And a save. Not a very convincing one. But nevertheless, Sanjay Tucker keeps that effort from Kenrick Brown out of the net. First real attempt at goal there from KFA. And in the end, it may not be the most aesthetically pleasing effort, but they've gotten a shot on target. They're just a lovely shot there up close. Tajay Gordon and Kenrick Brown going to be battling it out for most of this game. And definitely a touch there on Davian Clark. And I suppose you have to play the game a bit if you can read between the lines of what I'm saying in terms of, just making a bit of a meal of certain challenges. But it does concern me whenever I see players hold their leg or go to ground and just immediately get right back up as if nothing happened. It does leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, I'd say that, but nevertheless, just 16 minutes into this one, of course. For those who haven't been following this competition, just now tuning in, it's 40 minutes per half. Not the usual 45. These are youngsters after all. It is for development. And so, with that being said, they're going to still have plenty of time to make an impact here and get some goals in. And thank you once more for all those who have tuned in right throughout this campaign. Whether it be supporting the players at the stadiums wherever the games have been played, or just tuning in online, thousands of viewers each game. Must be said, it's a really good look for the future of youth football in Jamaica, that so many people are interested in these youngsters, who of course have been phenomenal at the schoolboy level as well. That's an offside decision surely, yes. Flag goes up. A number of these players have been exceptional at schoolboy football level, and so have been already getting game time at the professional level in the Jamaican Premier League, as well as just getting access to play for certain clubs like Portmore, like Mount Pleasant, like Harbourview, like Cavalier, who unfortunately weren't in the competition this year after coming fourth last year, but they most likely will be rejoining in the next edition, of course, if our lives are spared by the Almighty. But as I mentioned before in the broadcast of the semi-final, only expecting bigger and better things each year in this competition. Each year it's just expanded the number of teams and just continues to be a phenomenal competition and a phenomenal bit of skill there from Kevon Holloway, who's still going. Plays it to Henry. Oh, great pass to Holloway, and what a challenge coming in there. Last-ditch effort from Prince Louis, who was sensational last week against Mount Pleasant. And Kevon Holloway seemingly bamboozled the defense, got the return pass from Romy Henry, and could so easily have gotten the shot away had it not been for that magnificent challenge coming in there from the diminutive fullback there, Prince Louis. Now a corner kick for the boys in red and black, trying to get an equalizer here, find a way back into this contest. Awaiting confirmation. Are they okay for the set piece to be taken? Wallace delivers towards the back post, headed on, and that's onto the back of the net, but it's behind the goal. Fantastic delivery, but in the end just couldn't keep it down. Elliott still has possession, and Tajay Gordon wants a foul, but he won't get one. Clark loses position, but he does win a free kick here for KFA. Just barking instructions there. Coach of Portmore United, he's most definitely a foul there and a yellow card brandished, I believe, to Kelvin Brown. It's definitely a yellow card to Kelvin Brown. Pretty difficult to witness get another look at this, and yeah, Kelvin Brown on his namesake. Of course, names are spelled differently. Kelvin is Klvein. Pretty rash challenge, and in the end, most definitely a free kick. And Winston Taylor, who has been, for my money, arguably coach of the season, not just because they get to the final, but because you can see the work that they put in tactically. He deserves to be here. Of course, did also coach Jamaica College, I believe, to a couple of trophies this year. He's just an absolutely phenomenal young talent as a coach. Eager to see how he develops as well. Still a relatively young coach compared to the majority of his peers. But he's been doing a fantastic job, of course. KFA have been developing well. Third place finished last year, and now they're in the final this year. They'd love to win it, of course, but nevertheless, it's the progress that excites most. But now it's Romy Henry, who has progressed as well, was perhaps second fiddle in that middle of the park to Nikolai Banton last year, who is unavailable this edition of the competition. But this year he's emerged as a real leader. Of course, wearing the captain armband in place of Jadine Morgan, who was captain for last season. And of course, Kivario White, who was captain for the majority of the first half of the season. But not just as a leader, but as a player. He's so much more confident in driving in position. And already was always so technically gifted. And boy, oh boy, does he have a strike on him. Scored arguably the goal of the season last year in a 1-0 win against Harbourview. But yet again this year, he has produced some worldies, some absolute belters. A fantastic goal from against Montego Bay United early in the season, and then last week, what about that hit against Harbourview? And I believe that was to get it to 3-3 as well. Take some doing to score, not just immediately to level the scores, but to score like that in that fashion. What a goal. From about 30 yards out, probably. Arrowed into the top corner of the net. Adlam. KFA just content at the moment to just keep it around the back. Passing it around nicely. Calm, methodical in position, searching for an opening, which, of course, this Portmore United team doesn't really give many of. And there you can see once more why. Fantastic in the tackle. They're so aggressive in their approach. Most teams tend to get a lot of time on the ball when they're technically gifted. Teams like Harbourview and Mount Pleasant typically see a lot of the ball as well. Along with KFA, they're perhaps the most gifted team, those two teams. But why Portmore have proven to be such a tough opposition for all those so-called or in-commas bigger teams is because they just don't allow them to play their football. They don't allow you to just have time on the ball. Aggressive from the first whistle. And as you can see here now, they're rather direct. They move in transition rather quickly and in synchronized movements. So here's Terrain Hall now on that left-hand side, trying to get past Kenrick Brown. And look at him in motion. Terrain Hall, when he gets going, very, very good to watch. Passing to Prince Louis. Gets a shot away! Oh! Oh my word! Oh my God, what a finish! Portmore United, they've only gone and done it again. Prince Louis, he'll remember that for a lifetime.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Ooh. Lovely, well-worked passage of play between Terrain Hall and Prince Louis. And, yeah, that's hit the underside of the crossbar. You're not stopping that. No chance for Javier Coke. You could have argued that he could perhaps have done better with a penalty from Jaquan Brown. But, yeah, there's no chance he's stopping that effort. Too much power. Too much. That was laced with venom. What a finish from Prince Louis. He was phenomenal last week against Mount Pleasant, and he actually scored the winner. And now he's only gone and done it again. He scored in the semifinals and finals of this competition. And on top of his defensive display last week, keeping at bay the likes of Javier Henry and Samuel Taylor, some of the better players in this competition, he's really stepped up on the other side of the ball in these knockout stages, scoring some fantastic goals. And now, most importantly, he's put his team 2-0 up in the final and put them in a commanding position whereby they do look as though it could be their trophy to win. Of course, as I mentioned before, 40 minutes and a half, which means there's about 13 or so or less minutes to go in this first half. And then on top of that, a whole matter of another half to play. Still plenty in this game. But my oh my, Portmore United have given quite the uphill battle to KFA to overcome. And Rashid Payne on the ball now. Playing it to Clark, who gives it to Elliott. Pass off a bit short, but still has position now. Henry trying for that signature outside of the box shot. Unable to get it off though. Defended really, really well. Portmore United just always have numbers behind the box, behind the ball rather than Jaquan Brown once more in the tackle, strong and clearing his lines. But there you can just see there the passage of play between Terrain Hall and Prince Louis, then got the shot away. My word. You're going to be hard pressed to see a better strike than that. Not just this afternoon, but all competition long. One of the goals of the season for sure. Holloway dancing, then crossing, but deflected. Terrain Hall's touch lets him down, and Kendrick Brown has position once more for KFA. Rena. Surf. Back to Lewis. Oh, he surrendered possession now. Davian Clark trying to slip through a pass for DeMar Wallace, unable to, but the KFA have the ball once more. Henry plays it to Rashid Payne. Has a strike! Ooh. Seems to have... Is that a penalty? Has the referee actually given a penalty here? It seems like it. I'm actually dumbfounded. I thought that was going to go out for a corner kick. And even then, I was going to say, even if it is a corner kick, did seem like it take a slight, barely noticeable touch of a Sean Dunn, but it actually has touched him on. Watching it again on the replay, it definitely did take touch, and especially because he moved towards the ball. Sean Dunn definitely put himself in a rather precarious position. And now DeMar Wallace has a chance to step up and make it 2-1 from the spot here. And the chaos that could ensue from this game could be similar to that of last week. Wallace steps up and is saved! Oh! Sanjay Tucker, the hero on this occasion. Portmore United. When it's your day, it's your day. And they could yet add to what has been a phenomenal one, but the attack breaks up. Oh my word, Sanjay Tucker. Fantastic save from DeMar Wallace, who is absolutely crestfallen. I must admit, must be transparent with you folks. When Sanjay Tucker stepped in for Sheldon York towards the end of the season. In the last couple of games in the regular season, I was a bit shocked because Sheldon York for most of the season was great in his own right. Big part of the reason why Portmore United has such a great defense. But Sanjay has stepped up over these last couple of games and has been utterly sensational. And to make a save like that in a game of this magnitude, in the words of our former DPP, it does take some testicular fortitude. And that's been put out for a corner kick. My oh my. This is shaping up to be a rather interesting game. Of course, 2-0 to the good Portmore, but things could so easily have gone the other way there. Corner taken by Holloway now. Not the best of set pieces. Still not cleared yet, however. Reina gets ahead to it, and Rashid Payne, he could only put it out of play. It will be a throw the other way now to Portmore United. Lewis surging forward past a number of players. Plays it for Terrain Hall. Trying to play in to Sean Reina, unable to. Orlando Angel, who mentioned before, got a red card against Waterhouse a couple of weeks ago and was unable to play in the final, of course. He has been a great addition to the squad for this final, and there you just have a shot there of Dominic Clark and Miles Hanna, two players who, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, have been some of the highest scorers in the competition. Dominic Clark second to Samuel Taylor with 5. Oh, lovely pass. Great passage of play for KFA, and had a shot but blocked there. Miles Hanna, as I mentioned before, that's definitely offside. Yeah. Miles Hanna has 3 goals in about 3 or 4 games. Didn't play the majority of the season thanks to an injury early in the game. Oh, they're through here. Now to Jay Gordon has a chance to make it 3. Saved by Javier Coke. Oh, it's all going off here now. Portmore United since blood in the water. And they're trying to pounce on what has been a rather shaky backline for KFA this year. They're trying to make them pay, and Teshawn Reina has once more an effort on goal. Couldn't keep it down, however. Orlando Angel, as you can see there on the replay, played in to Jay Gordon and perhaps could have taken a shot just a millisecond earlier, but nonetheless, fantastic save by Coke. Got down, made himself big, and in the end he somehow has kept the score to 2-0. KFA just hasn't been their day thus far. They haven't played particularly poorly, at least in the attacking phase, as well as in the attacking phase. I don't think they've played rather poorly. It's just Portmore United on both sides of the ball have just been fantastic, and bar that mistake by Sean Dunn to give away the penalty, they've been really impressive. Lovely switch of the play, but the touch there by Ryland Campbell let him down. Quayne Carey has come forward now. Finds Jermaine Brown. Sean Dunn does well to get past his man. Now plays into Jay Gordon. Lovely pass out wide to Kelvin Brown. Oh, they're through here. Not the greatest touch in the world, and that slows down the counter, but he's plays it all the way over, and Javier Coke eventually comes for it. But that is really a snapshot of what Portmore United's season has looked like. Defend valiantly, and then in an instant spring a counter attack, try to go direct. But now here's Clark, has a shot. Oh, forced a save once more out of Sanjay Tucker, who could only push that over the top of the bar, and in the end, not perhaps the most sure-handed in the world, but
Doesn't matter how you keep it out, just keep it out. And for now at least, Sanjay Tucker's sheet remains clean. Cross coming in. Holloway trying to follow it up with an effort. And that will trickle all the way through to that young man in goal, Sanjay Tucker, who has been phenomenal since joining the team, or at least joining the starting 11. Orlando Angel on the ball, loses possession rather quickly to Rashid Payne. Now, I believe that's Kelvin Brown now on the ball, or rather Kevon Adlam, playing more centrally so far in this game. Typically playing in that fullback position, but seems a bit of a tactical switch up for KFA. A number of their players not necessarily, well, they would have played majority of the season, not necessarily playing today. And you do just begin to wonder if perhaps a switch up is necessary, whether it be tactically or in terms of personnel, because right now they're getting really outmatched, especially in the middle of the park, where of course, yeah, they have plenty of possession, but the intensity by Portmore in phases of the game has just been too much for them. But they're getting down the wing here with a cross coming in, a lovely one, and once more, guess who at the back to make the all-important clearance is Jaquan Brown. Shot coming in once more. It's falling to Davian Clark. Loses possession, shoved off it. Put back into the free. Holloway trying to take on Prince Louis, loses possession, but he wins it back. Good work ethic. And this is a true final, ladies and gentlemen. Last year's one was a bit one-sided, a bit lopsided at times, but this one has been amazing. Holloway once more losing out on the duel to Prince Louis, who has been fantastic in these knockout stages. As I mentioned before, scored last week and was arguably man of the match against Mount Pleasant. And now he scored yet again in the final. And he hasn't just scored, he's scored an absolute worldie. What a goal. Now this is a final. The intensity is high. The quality is high. In fact, the bench of KFA, some of them are off their feet. And Winston Taylor is really getting into it, and there you have it, some afters as well. Kelvin Brown just with a little shove there on Tajay Gordon, really getting into it. Lovely pass into the path of Kevon Holloway. You can take on Lewis once more, gets him to that byline, turns, pass coming in. Ooh, Davian Clark slips and loses possession, and it seems he's also suffered perhaps just a minor knock. At least they'll be hoping that it's minor. And that will go the other way. There will be a throw-in for KFA. Clark gets back to his feet. Wallace calls for it, gets it. Back heel for Holloway. Unable to get past the rock at the back. At the back, that is Jaquan Brown. And I have to say, I've already said it before, but I'll say it once more. If this result should continue, I don't know how I could give anyone else player of the competition other than Jaquan Brown, with the number of man of the match performances he's had, with the number of moments that he's shown up so big in. And there you can see just confirmation of 2 minutes added time. As I mentioned before, for those unaware, it is 40 minutes per half in this competition. But back to Jaquan Brown, I don't see how he could give anyone else, an unfancied team who, compared to some of the more urban teams, is at a disadvantage in some areas. But his leadership, as well as his talent on the pitch defensively, has just been so instrumental and so key. And should this result remain the same, for me, no question, he's perhaps going to get the player of the competition. Free kick now, however, for KFA. Taken, ooh, and not far away from Kelvin Brown. who, as I mentioned before, the young centre back already has a goal to his name this season. Scored that winner against Mount Pleasant on the last day of the regular season. Looking for a second. Unable to on that occasion, however. Holloway to Rashid Payne. Lovely turn. Good decision to find Kevin Brown out wide. Pass in field looking for Romy Henry. Finds him to Kenrick Brown, who wins a free kick there. Bit of a soft foul, but correct decision nonetheless. Now it's Adlam on it once more. And that goes out of play. Bit too much on it for Shaquan Elliott. And we're approaching the end of the 2 minutes that were added, that were promised. And going into the break, Winston Taylor, coach of KFA, has quite the job on his hands to turn this game around. But given the talent at his disposal, I know he's fully capable. But that is the whistle, and brings us to the end of the first half of the KFC Under-18 Elite Cup final, where Portmore United, who many would have perhaps not guessed would have been a semi-finalist, let alone a finalist, are up 2-0 in the final against Kingston Football Academy, thanks to goals from Jaquan Brown, captain extraordinaire, from the spot, and then later on a thunderbolt from the blue, from the diminutive fullback Prince Lewis. Going to the break, Portmore United lead 2-0. Rejoin us after the break, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon once more, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. A warm welcome to those just joining us on the stream for the KFC Under 18 Elite Cup Final. The second half is about to get underway. As you can see there, the referee's just biding time. And at the break, Portmore United lead 2-0. The unfancied team from St. Catherine, who found themselves against all odds in the finals of this competition. They've once more made an attempt to slay yet another Goliath, and both goals have come from Jaquan Brown from the spot. Captain Fantastic stepping up once more when his team need him. This time, however, doing it on the other side of the ball. And the other goal coming later on from Prince Louis, who scored in the semi-finals. And they'll be hoping that they can perhaps hang on to this lead. Of course, what would it mean for them? Spoken already of the adversity that they've had to take to get here. It's been a tough road. Had to secure all 3 points to ensure they just got a spot in the semi-finals, and they did so in some fashion, dismantling Waterhouse 3-1 on the final day of the league season in what was pretty much a dominant display from start to finish. And now they have a chance once more to topple opposition that many would suggest have a clear advantage in the way of talent. But here we are once more, about to commence the other half of this game. Another 40 minutes plus possible added time to play. And Portmore United have a chance at etching their names on the trophy. And it would be quite something if in the second year of the competition we have two different winners. It would be a very good start. And of course, it's Portmore United's first time being in this competition. They and Waterhouse were new additions. Should be lovely for them. Rylan Campbell on that occasion unable to get past to Sean Rayner, but he does win a throw in here. On as a shot off from distance, and Kenrick Brown unable to replicate the level of success he would have had last week from that distance when he scored against Harbourview from way out. On that occasion, his shot just going narrowly wide. He did kickstart the comeback last week. Of course, as mentioned before, played out a 4-all draw with Harbourview in the semi-final and then won, triumphed on penalties. Holloway trying to find his teammate there, or Highland, but ball's gone behind him. Now he's back to Holloway. Plays it across to Romy Henry, and that shot didn't really have any power behind it. And in the end, Sanjay Tucker makes a great save. Oh, lovely work by Quinn Carey to get past Davian Clark, but he seems to have run into trouble. And Terrain Hall. Great defensive work. As they usually say when we played in high school, bigger body. And that's most definitely a foul. And a yellow card as well. I believe that's on Quinn Carey, who's been rather aggressive in the tackle thus far and earns himself a place in the book. And I must say, kudos to Portmore United's back line right the way through, as well as Sanjay Tucker, who made a save from the penalty of DeMar Wallace in the first half. But especially their fullbacks, short in stature, but they're not short on talent, not short on heart. Kelvin Brown with a cross, not cleared as well as it can be by Sean Dunn has another stab at it, heads it on. Holloway gets his head to it once more. Dunn to Holloway, and regardless if the shot was on target or not, which it wasn't, that is most definitely a free kick and a foul for Portmore. Once more, commendations to the officials that have taken the time, the effort to be here, not just today but right throughout this competition. You've done a fantastic job of keeping things in order, perhaps even an improvement on last year where sometimes in some games things got away, but it's been fantastic so far in this competition, and they've really managed to keep a lid on the tempers of the young men who, of course, not necessarily fully mature yet, but despite the task and they've managed to do admirably. And speaking of admirable, Sanjay Tucker has yet another chance here to prove his worth in goal as a free kick from a pretty dangerous area emerges. Well, it's not a free kick, it's a drop ball. Kelvin Brown loops up across towards the back post, and I believe there was a touch there in the end by, I think, Ryan Campbell, and that'll go out for a goal kick. And just about almost 10 minutes gone in the second half. Portmore United have begun the first half as they did the second, defending valiantly, just waiting, biding their moment to be swift in transition. But here's KFA with a chance here, and Coen Carey as usual on hand to intercept. Fantastic tackle, and that goes out of play. Kenrick Brown, cross coming in, and in the end not able to be met by a head in red and black, and so KFA lose possession. But as Portmore United, they have a counter. Ooh, and had that gone all the way through, Terrain Hall could have been through on goal here. Romy Henry, lovely footwork to evade to Sean Rayner. Plays it out wide. Campbell with a cross. No one able to meet it, and Sanjay Tucker once more gets to it, but the throw there, not the greatest distribution. Romy Henry looks up. Opts not to take the shot on, does now. And Sean Dunn, good job of defending there. Terrain Hall, oh lovely, got past his man, and fantastic tackle coming in from Ryan Campbell. Kelvin Brown looking for some options out wide, finds Davian Clark. Drifts inside and plays a wonderful pass. Henry leaves it off for Shaquan Elliott, trying to find Rylan Campbell out wide. Intercepted by Tashawn Rayner, who's pretty much been defending for the majority of this game. Not able to show his attacking prowess as much as he would like. 4 goals on the season for Portmore, as I mentioned before, has been their most potent attacking threat. So consistent. Even when he doesn't score, he's been phenomenal. Creative young player. Rapid as well. Very daring. Loves to take on defenders. And you can see on the bench Navarre Anderson, who may be getting ready to come on soon. Deputized rather well in the place of Orlando Angel last week, who of course missed that game due to a suspension that he picked up on the last day of the season against Waterhouse in that fateful victory that I mentioned earlier. Rayner somehow squeezed it through a couple of defenders there in a tight space, and I believe has won a corner. Referee says no, it actually is a goal kick. Did well there to get past a number of players, but unfortunately didn't win the corner that he wanted. Payne. Oh, lovely pass out wide to Damar Wallace, who, oh, good skill there to try to get past Sean Dunn, who's a mammoth of a man, and he was unable to, and that's a poor decision by Dunn to play it down the line there. Reclaimed by Davian Clark, who's surging now down that left hand side. Cross comes in, and guess who? Only one man. That's Jaquan Brown, who once more is on hand to put that out behind for a corner kick to Kingston Football Academy. Navarre Anderson, as I mentioned before, is getting ready to come on, but now it's a set piece for KFA. Taken, and not the best corner kick in the world by Clark, and that will go behind for another goal, for a goal kick. Here's to Sean Reno. Oh, still going here. And in the end, that's a poor pass. Just could have settled a bit before making that decision. And Navarre Anderson has taken his bib off. It's definitely seeming like he's going to be coming on. Oh, lovely turn once more by Romy Henry, but the pass hit the back of a Portmore United player, believed to be Tishon Reyna. Terrain Hall, actually. And that pass from Rashid Payne is subsequently intercepted by Prince Louis. Now here's Tishon Reyna, trying to flick it over the head of Shaquan Elliott, unable to. Kelvin Brown on the ball. Ooh, not the greatest pass by Rashid Payne. It's intercepted now by Orlando Angel. Oh, great vision to find Tishon Reyna out wide. Can run at the defenders now. Taking on Kevon Adlam. Cuts inside. Takes a shot. And in the end, I believe that did take a touch off Javier Coke, and it does indeed go for a corner. A needless one at that. Shot really had no power behind it. And I have to say, if they do concede from this set piece, it's very likely that the defenders are going to have a very suspicious side eye at Javier Coke, considering that was very unnecessary. But nevertheless, they have the duty to defend this set piece, and Portmore United could very well go 3 goals up here. Reyna takes towards the back post, headed on by Angel, cleared by KFA. Now it's Kelvin Brown to chase, gets down that right hand side and shoved off it by Rylan Campbell. Good defending in the end. That will be a through for KFA. Kenrick Brown now in possession, being pursued by Kelvin Brown. Plays it out wide, however, to Davian Clark. Can take on Carey, unable to stop him. And the tackle from Orlando Angel, a bit of a rough one, and he earns himself a yellow card there. He did well to just shift inside. Lovely change of direction there, just slowed down before bursting onto his right foot. Most definitely a foul, and it seems there will be the substitution being made now. 2 substitutions actually. One for Portmore. It will be Tajay Gordon who's been substituted, and on comes Navarre Anderson. The rest of the team goes over for some instructions from head coach Ricardo Smith, and Dejan Ho Young will be coming on for KFA. Has been a regular starter since the aforementioned whole host of changes that came in on that week, that match day against Waterhouse. He's already scored so far since coming into the team, but it's his creativity has really stood out. One of the most electric players in terms of playing style. Really fun to watch. Great dribbler, creative. Not always necessarily the best decision maker in the final third or the most prolific goal scorer, but really, really good young talent. And it does seem as though they're definitely bring on Ho Young, but it seems that Romy Henry's been the man that's been substituted. And I have to say, bit of a strange decision. Of course, been the captain for most of the second half of the season, as I mentioned before, since displacing Cavario White, who, upon some of the new reinforcements, has had to watch from the bench mostly, despite scoring 3 goals early in the season. Free kick, however, taken by Brown, headed away by Navarre Anderson, the substitute, with his first touch of the game. Not the greatest clearance in the world, but now they have the possession of the ball. Navarre Anderson on it, loses possession to Damar Wallace. Kenrick Brown gets it out wide to Davian Clark. Gets a cross in. Oh! Damar Wallace threw himself at it, unable to get a touch. And another cross coming in. Not a bad one either, but headed away by Terrene Hall. And to Sean Arena trying to play it up for Kelvin Brown. But good defensive work there by KFA on that occasion. Rashid Payne playing it into the path of Davian Clark, trying to switch onto his right foot once more. Loses position. Good defending from the back line of Portmore. Hoisted upfield towards Kelvin Brown. Great pass by Orlando Angel. And he's unable to keep it in play. Will go out for a throw-in to Kingston Football Academy. Just under 20 minutes to go. And it's really heating up, folks. The intensity, the drama, the passion, all on display. And Portmore, just under 20 minutes to go from a famous victory. And I have to say, it's very much deserved. Very, very much deserved, should they secure the win. But they still have to defend here. Kenrick Brown surging through the middle. Plays a pass for Damar Wallace. What a tackle by none other than arguably the player of the tournament, Jaquan Brown. What a phenomenal defender this man is. So often puts his body on the line. So many games he's left feeling enormous amounts of pain. Could hardly continue. But that's what it takes, ladies and gentlemen. Corner coming in at the back post. No one able to make contact. Cleared away. Portmore United put it upfield for Kelvin Brown now. And now it's Terrene Hall. He takes it down, but seems to have handled the ball. And free kick will be taken quickly by KFA. And Prince Lewis, how about that? Plays it up field with some amount of power. Now here's Javier Coke. Plays it to Kelvin Brown. Kevon Adlam. Ryland switched in midfield now since Dejan Ho Young has come on. He's been rather versatile. Whoa, rather bad pass at the back. Angels through. Oh, Portmore have done it. They've done it. And surely now, with just about 18 minutes to go, that is the icing on what has been a phenomenal season. And surely, Portmore United are going to be the 2026 KFC Under-18 Elite Cup champions. 18 minutes to go, of course. Stranger things have happened in football. But it seems as though their name is on the trophy.
That, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, as LaShawn Barnaby comes on, that is, for me, a snapshot of their season right the way through. Defend in numbers, compact at the back, and then when you get your moment, you hit them on the break. They've done that time and time again this season. They've done it against this opposition already this season in a 2-1 victory that I mentioned early in the broadcast. That late 2-1 victory thanks to a goal from LaShawn Barnaby, who's just come onto the pitch. But in the final, when it matters most, this hasn't just been a 2-1 hanging on victory. This has been dominant, not in terms of possession, but for those who know that football is much more than a statistic, much more than a stat sheet. This has been a dominant performance on both sides of the ball. In the final third, they've just seemed more dangerous than KFA, and at the back, they have been resolute. Of course, aside from the penalty that they gave away rather cheaply from Sean Dunn, they've been so solid at the back. And of course, when they did make that mistake, Sanjay Tucker, who has been phenomenal in the knockout stages, stepped up and made his save against Damar Wallace. But Orlando Angel getting his 4th, I believe, of the competition. And that is why they missed him so much in that Mount Pleasant victory last week in the semi-final. But he's back now and he's made an impact here. And how? Again, another mistake at the back from KFA. A really poor misplaced pass. And as I mentioned before, they do what they do best, Portmore. They defend in numbers, they attack in numbers. And instantly committed numbers forward. Orlando Angel pouncing on the error and making the boys from Kingston pay. And in the battle for supremacy of under 18 football across the island, it seems it's the boys from St. Catherine who will sit on top of the throne, at least for 2026. But they still have a chance here. Davian Clark coming forward once more. Sean Dunn does well to make the tackle. And just under 15 minutes to go. I have to say, it's not looking good, folks. But Kelvin Brown has a free kick here. Ryan Campbell and him are over it. Candidates to take this set piece. And I'm lost for words, really, because who would have expected this? Rather strange outcome for most of the season until Portmore United had that 3-game winning streak to end the regular season. They were perhaps in 6th position, I believe. And now they're in the final winning 3-0. Kelvin Brown with a lovely free kick in terms of the curl on it, but unable to keep it down. And that is the impact that this game has. It is special. And now a whole host of changes. Miles Hanna and Dominic Clark among them. I believe also Kevario White and Keyshawn Lewis, 2 players who I mentioned before that for most of the season, along with Dominic Clark, were starters. Kevario White was actually the captain for most of the season until halfway through he was displaced in that role by Romy Henry. Miles Hanna, as mentioned before, scored 3 goals in just 2 games before suffering a horrific injury, which sidelined him until the semi-final. Ooh, that's gone all the way through for Barnaby, who's really a physical mismatch for any defense in the league, but he's giving away a free kick here. But among those players that I've mentioned, it's also Dominic Clark, who also has to be mentioned. For a large part of the season, he was a top scorer. He has 5 goals on the year. And I believe he actually did score a hat-trick against Portmore United early in the season. They'll be hoping that he can produce a similar result here. Cross in. Oh, it's gone all the way through, trying to get it to Miles Hanna. But nevertheless, that's put out for a throw in.
And I guess it does raise the question of course, I've said it before, hindsight is 2020, but you just begin to wonder now, had a number of those players who didn't necessarily, who became bench players but were starters, had they been playing. Oh, they're still, you've given away another error here. Barnaby goes for it. Oh ho ho, almost 4. And Portmore United, their bench is going ballistic. Javier Coke as well, lambasting his defenders, but to be fair, he also has to look at himself. Did play it into the path of Barnaby there. It does seem as though the lack of communication, the lack of chemistry as well, I suppose, is playing a part. And they've been dismantled, not just by Portmore, but from the inside. Miles Hanna still on the ball now for KFA. Trying to hold up the play, but unable to find a teammate. But now KFA have the ball once more. Keyshawn Lewis, who's predominantly played on the wing, but in his last few appearances have been playing rather deep. Devin Clark. White has a shot, and Sanjay Tucker yet again comes up trumps. He's been phenomenal in goal, and it does seem as though Portmore have a player down. And as we await just the confirmation that he'll be okay and able to continue, perhaps. It is worth noting, ladies and gentlemen, this is only the second year of this competition. And I have to say, in both years that we've had the privilege of covering it, we've seen so many young players go on to make their name in leagues abroad and in the local leagues. And as I've said right the way throughout this game and the semi-final, it's just going to get only better and better and better. The quality of football continues to improve. The players who are playing year in, year out continue to improve. The drama, the excitement, the narratives, the storylines, it only gets better. And I expect the number of teams to drastically expand over the next few years. But now it's Dominic Clark on the ball, trying to salvage something for KFA. Wallace. Oh, they've lost position, but they get a free kick here. And I have to say, can only imagine what Winston Taylor, coach of KFA, is feeling on the inside right now. Tactical mastermind, really, but regardless of the ability that he has or the players have, they've been outdone here. They have been outclassed. That's headed away to Lewis, who has a goal, and the ball falls now to Miles Hanna, who wants a penalty, and they get it. No, they don't. It actually is a goal kick, much to the pleasure of Portmore United and their fans. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is perhaps the peak, the climax of the competition. Similar result to last year, 3-0 in the final, but the drama and the excitement, though it was there, perhaps may have been doubled by this year's finals. This has been such an exciting game, such an unbelievable spectacle to witness. Portmore United, I don't like doing it at times, and that is summing up victories for teams in sports, especially football, to things that are outside of ability or tactical prowess, because it does feel a bit lazy at times to assume. But regardless of the obvious talent that Portmore United do have, they have been at a disadvantage to most of the top teams, I'd say, compared to them. And at that point, you have to just look at what has been the common denominator right throughout their games. What has been the deciding factor in a lot of these games? Yes, they do press. They are compact at the back. They do hit you in transition, and they're clinical up front. But really, for me, the deciding factor has partially been as well, has just really been that they've wanted it more than their opponents. And for some, that may be a bit too lazy of an analysis, but it's clear to see for all those who have been following this competition that the level of effort that has been lacking for some of the teams, the competition's top teams, Portmore United have it, and they have it in spades. And there, that man, with just about 6 minutes to go, is away from captaining his team to a victory that, as I've said before many times, many would not have guessed. But Portmore United could very well get a fourth here. Just couldn't keep it down, Kelvin Brown. And KFA once more, they're playing out from the back, they're undoing. They've been usually, right throughout the season and even last year, been so comfortable in position. In that second phase of possession, they tend to outdo most teams. Oh, lovely flick over the head there by Dominic Clark. Plays it over the head now, trying to find a teammate. And that's most definitely a free kick. Not saying it was a bit malicious, but did go in there rather violently. Dominic Clark, multi-talented athlete, of course. Absolutely rapid. And does seem Kingston Football Academy are getting ready to make it another change. It should be Johnny Falconer, I believe, or Tyler Faulkner rather. My apology. And that's launched upfield. Good clearance by Kevon Adlam to Sean Arena to take this throw in. And the confirmation now of the change for KFA. And it indeed will be Tyler Faulkner who will be coming on. What a special day in a special competition. Portmore United will be now the second winners, should the result remain the same, of course. They will be the second winners of this competition since its inception. Last year was Mount Pleasant, as we see there, confirmation of a change. Portmore United taking out Sanjay Tucker from the goal. But now it's Portmore United's turn to celebrate. Miles Hanna on the deck. And KFA committing numbers forward here. Not a lot of players back here. KFA rather made a change. Javier Coke has left the field. And Prince Lewis racing into the box with a cross. And that's gone way over. He scored an absolutely phenomenal goal in the first half that sent Portmore United on their way to this, what seems to be an imminent victory. Cross coming in from Reina. And that's most definitely a foul there. Navarre Anderson giving away a free kick on Kevario White. And for his troubles, he's earned himself a place in the book. I think a blind man could have seen that coming. Oh, lovely turn, and Jaquan Brown gives away a free kick. And And for me, and for anyone who's been watching, there should be no doubt in anyone's mind who the player of the tournament is going to be. It's going to be that man, the number 23. Of course, a number donned by greats in other sports. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, of course, but in his own right, he's displayed greatness. Jaquan Brown. Free kick taken now. Not a bad one, but headed away by Navarre Anderson. Headed on once more. And Tishon Arena has a stab at it. Kelvin Brown now. Only one to beat. Plays the path now. Into the path of LaShawn Barnaby. Has one defender to beat. Has reinforcements incoming. Has possession still. Plays it in now to Kelvin Brown. Cuts back. Trying to get past the defender. Unable to. But now Kuwait Carey has a shot. Rather wild one. But he won't mind. Less than 2 minutes left. And you can start the countdown now. It's almost party time for the boys from St. Catherine. Jubilation. Incoming. Perhaps not champagne, given the age, but definitely some sort of celebratory beverage. Can already hear the chants, can already hear the shouts, can already see the players off their feet, awaiting the final whistle, which there is no doubt that there's only less than a minute, perhaps, plus possible at a time for it to come. And that's another clearance by Portmore. So many numbers forward from KFA that should they lose this attack, which they do here, they would be exposed, but thankfully for them it's a set piece. It's going to be a free kick here. No card. And of course, they're going to milk this clock for what it's worth. For whatever time they have left, they're going to milk this. And Orlando Angel going to ground, and he's signaled that he wants a substitution. And I think he's going to get it. And a free kick now to be taken in what perhaps will maybe be the last kick of the game. KFA, despite having to defend the free kick, have four bodies forward, and that tells you the desperation level. And no flag gone up. He's through here. Reina has a shot. And that goes behind for a goal kick. There's been no signal of any added time. And so this should be, barring any catastrophic incident, the final play of the game. The final play of the tournament at large. KFA, their last attempt. Miles Hanna has a shot saved by Sanjay Tucker, and that should do it. That should do it. No, I thought it was the final whistle. My apologies. Got ahead of myself there. It's actually going to be a confirmation of 4 minutes added. And they're already 2 minutes into it. About 2 minutes into it. And they have a chance now to get forward, and they've actually... So in position, seem to have gone a bit early, the number of the attackers, and so too as the commentator got ahead of himself. But nevertheless, it's a time for celebration very, very soon.
Clark still going forward. Went down, and it's a penalty. Once more, KFA have a chance to step up and dispatch from the spot. Davian Clark racing through, and once more, I believe it is Sean Dunn who's giving up his second penalty of the game. Handball in the first half, and now a foul on Davian Clark deep into added time in the second. Restless, anticipatory. They know it's coming, but they're gonna have to wait. The lights are on. But for now, Davian Clark has a chance to get what perhaps would be a consolation and ruin Sanjay Tucker's clean sheet, which, to be honest, he would have deserved if it does score. He's already saved the penalty so far in this game, earlier from Damar Wallace. Can he do it again, however? It's not a matter of this being a decisive one on this occasion, but can he still do the do? And oh, that's a beautiful penalty, calmly dispatched from 12 yards. Davian Clark, fantastic save, fantastic shot. He was never gonna get to that, Sanjay Tucker. And with mere seconds left, really, the game should be coming to a close rather shortly. Anderson perhaps wanted to just boot it clear, but couldn't. And now it's Davian Clark racing down that left-hand side. Cross coming in. Poor. Cleared by Portmore United. Barnaby out wide to Brown. To Barnaby. And he has numbers forward, but the pass was not on the money. And KFA have a number of bodies forward. And that's a poor pass. Sean Dunn clears it downfield. And that should be offside by Romain Brown. Yes, he is. We're already into added time, but the referee still hasn't blown. Kelvin Brown intercepts. They still have possession, KFA. Wallace plays it into Sean Lewis now. Out wide. Faulkner to Hannah. Trying to find a teammate. Unable to. And it's just been that kind of night for KFA. Oh, and a slip here. And I tell you what, if somehow they manage to come back, it'd be quite the miracle. And I tell you what, folks, KFA have a free kick here. We're already past the allotted 4 minutes, and yet they have a free kick now. Could be a nerve-wracking last moments of the game here, as KFA have already scored from the penalty. But now they have a chance from yet another dead ball situation. And yet again, it's Davian Clark over it, along with, I believe, Kelvin Brown. It's not a bad angle to shoot from. Can he set up a nerve-wracking last remaining moments of the game? He's almost certainly going for goal. Oh, saved. Pushed onto the post by Sanjay Tucker. That was a great save. And they're still coming here. 87 minutes played. KFA still have an opportunity, but intercepted by Portmore. And the whistle's still not blown as yet. Lovely pass upfield. They're through here. Miles Hanna cross coming in, and Sanjay Tucker dives on it. And he's applauded by his captain, Jaquan Brown. Punts it downfield. Oh, another missed kick, another mistake at the back. LaShawn Barnaby. Oh, he slipped at the most inopportune of times. That really could have been the haymaker. And he's won the ball once more. A chaotic end to the game now in this final. Barnaby coming forward. Goes for goal! Oh! Went to the near post. Just couldn't squeeze it in between the net. KFA in 6s and 7s really. They've been shambolic at the back. Really right throughout the competition, but especially today. They can call themselves fortunate that they're not behind by even more goals, really. And they've gone long now, up towards Dominic Clark, headed on. Davian Clark. Intercepted. Sean Dunn loses possession, and now it's found its way into Dejan Ho Young. Now Davian Clark. Cross coming in, and Miles Hanna has turned it in. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have a game on our hands. 89 minutes played, and it's still not over. It seemed as though it was. But Davian Clark, thanks to a goal and an assist now, has managed to set up what could be a rather chaotic finish to what has been an already exceptional final. They go for goal straight from the kickoff, and it's over! It's over! Portmore United are the KFC Under 18 Elite Cup champions, and look at what it means to them. They're going wild with the celebrations, and deservedly so. Unfavored, unfancied, underdogs, counted out at every stage of the competition. 6th place until the last couple of weeks in the season, when they mounted a 3-game win streak to ensure their spot in the semis. They've somehow gone all the way and won what is an unbelievable final, an unbelievable competition. And ladies and gentlemen, you won't find excitement like this anywhere in Jamaican football, except for maybe the upcoming semi-finals of the Jamaican Premier League, which of course will be played at the National Stadium, for those wondering. But ladies and gentlemen, just to quickly turn our attention once more here at the Anthony Sporting Sports Complex. This has been crazy. But with that, I bid you adieu, ladies and gentlemen. It's been John Stewart, your commentator. It's been a pleasure presenting this competition to you. I bid you good night, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.